We can be reliant on ourselves. We can be reliant on our community. We can do this ourselves. We don't need these massive corporations to control. We don't need 4 meat producers to control all the meat. We don't need Salinas, California to produce all the produce. We don't need it. We can do it ourselves. What actually makes the world work?
Moolah.
It's money.
Yeah.
It's money. You tell them what you want and they're going to do it. If you stop buying that product, they're going to change their practices.
Our potential, it's exponential.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another podcast. I got my friend Matt here. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yes. So we met in the garden.
Yeah,
and
bro.
I could tell you're connected to this. So
Yeah.
thank you for coming out.
Yeah, you're very welcome, man. It was fun. I was happy to finally be able to get a chance to come out and say hello to you. And, you know, that's just, for me, the most important thing is to I have to get to know the person that's helping us grow our food, because then that's the only way I can really understand it and make it the best we can, because it's a relationship. It's a partnership between, you know, chef and farmer. It has to happen.
That's
There's
right.
no other way.
And you're into it. You said you're a chef, right? You met like Dan Barber. You've worked on farms and all this cool stuff. We'll get into it today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how'd you what was the spark? What brought you to the garden?
I mean, love, man. You know, a passion for cooking. You know, I'd already had made that choice of being a chef, and, you know, working in New Orleans and working in restaurants and stuff, just slinging food, not really thinking about it. Kind of had this, you know, mid 2000s rock star chef, thought process of everything. And it was fun. It was exciting. It had the adrenaline, you know, figured I could probably make good living out of it, and just, you know, giving something to people that was a part of myself. Just really, I don't know, just it was a connection. You know, I come from a family that owned restaurants and hotels.
In New Orleans?
In New Orleans, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my extended family, cousins. You know, I come from an Italian American family, so I have a very large family in that aspect. But yeah, after Katrina, man, you know, I had already pretty much made that choice, and I was just like, look, I want to help, you know, be a part of this, be a part of the rebuild, you know. And my uncle had an Italian chef, and I was really trying to get back to my Italian roots. I really wanted a chance to go to Italy. I really wanted a chance just to learn how to cook in that type of cuisine. That's just really what I was focused on, you know.
Did you go?
Yeah. I eventually got to go, and you know, that's kind of where it started. And then to get there, I chose a culinary school in New York City. They had an Italian program that would get me to Italy. So I went to school in New York for 3 months, and then I went off to Italy for 9 months there, you know, learned under some great professors and chefs. Wow. And then got to, you know, work in a restaurant in Italy as well. And then just,
Where?
You know.
That's incredible. Where at?
The restaurant or the school? The school is right outside of Parma in a small town called Corono. The school's name is Alma. And, you know, that first time in culinary school in New York City, I was lucky enough to go work for the crafts company, Tom Colicchio. And just as just like a CRAFT, just like as an intern. He's the head chef on Top Chef. He's the judge. And that actually kind of
not craft. I was thinking mac and cheese craft.
Yeah, no, that's what most people do. Yeah, man. Yeah. Just for craftsmanship. But it was just me and my buddies sitting around in college. I already made the choice, I'm going to go to culinary school. And my friends were like, oh, yeah, you know, you could work for that guy. You never do it. And I was like, all right, well, F you. I'm going to go do this. So when I got to New York and I was going to school, there was a day where you could go and apply for jobs as going to school during the day, go work at night. And I was like, that was the table. So I just handed my resume. And lucky enough, I was able to get my foot in the door. And
you told your friend, you said, hey, I'm going to go get this job.
Well, they were like, you're not going to do it. So F you, I'm going to go try to go do this. And so when I saw it, it was just it was like serendipitous. I was like, well, there it is. I better go take the shot. So I took the shot, got my foot in the door. I just told the chef, just let me get my foot in the door, show what I can do. I'll take care of the rest. So I was very green at that point. Working in New Orleans restaurants, you know, was a great, you know, base learning, but this was a whole nother level. But the one thing
New York City.
Yeah, it was the first, you know, you make it there, you make it anywhere. And that's what I was out there to prove. You know, also at that time, New Orleans was we're rebuilding, but are we coming back? I don't know. I'm ready to go try the next step, because if I do, I can come home and do my thing. That was like the plan, you know. But we were bringing things in from the farmer's market. I was seeing vegetables I never heard of. I was seeing things I never tasted before. And also, being a child of the 80s and the 90s in America, you know, I ate that sad diet. That's, you know, standard American diet. My grandma used to put spoonfuls of sugar on my cereal. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just McDonald's, you name it, dude. Fruit roll-ups, the whole
dinosaur egg oatmeal made of sugar, little ball cubes.
Bro, the whole thing.
Nerd ropes.
Right. You know, you wonder why I can't sit still on a desk.
It's true.
You know?
And let's get into that. We got into that before the pod. It's all good. But yeah, so amazing. So you were exposed to all this new, fresh.
Yeah, and I wasn't even able to like eat that stuff because it was so offensive to my palate, because my palate had been hijacked from the highly ultra processed food system for so long. I mean, they literally just like, they hook you. You know, and they just use those evolutionary processes of getting you hooked on, you know, because we are based off of salt, fat, and sugar. You know, that's the first thing you consume when you're born from your mother's milk is minerals, salt, fat, right? You know, and sugar. Yeah. So you're just we're hardwired for that evolutionary wise, and these big major corporations hijack your palate. So there I am trying to make a beet salad. And the sous chef comes over before the, you know, service happens. They got to taste everything. And he's like, did you taste these beets? And I was like, oh, they're fine. He's like, did you season those? I was like, yeah, I seasoned them. Like, did you taste them? I'm like, no, I hate beets. He's like, if you want your fucking job, taste those beets. And I taste them like, yeah. And so I tasted it. And that was like, I don't know what it was, but that was just like the line in the sand. I was like, that's it. This whole like cartoon green things are gross or whatever it was that like really manipulated me as a small child into like, this shit's gross, like just stopped all of a sudden. Like, this is what I want to do. I better man up and do it.
Amazing.
So that was it.
It was like an identity shift.
Massive.
Dude.
Yeah.
Because I know what you mean, yeah.
It was immediately, that was the beginning of reprogramming my palate and my brain and my consciousness all together.
He said, try the beet salad.
He was like,
your consciousness all together.
Right? You're out.
By the way, yeah, this is so good. And by the way, do you like beet salad now?
Dude, I love beets, bro.
I love beets.
Love beets, dude. Yeah. Especially the Badger Flame beet that they just, you know, dropped a couple years ago, man. It's fucking amazing. We can go into that later on.
You guys got some good stuff. And yeah, totally. But brother, I know what you're saying. And it's so good. And I experienced this too, getting into the farm world.
Yeah.
The farm life. Like, instead of seeing the green wall, seeing all the different plants.
Yeah.
And the uses and the benefits. And it's so beautiful. And changing your consciousness. I love what you're talking about. And I think like, I mean, even like there's been studies about it. It takes many, many months and like days of different, you know, like meals, for example. You know, like I remember eating farm salads and being like, I never ate salads, but like we're here. This is what we got to eat.
Right.
And then after like 3 or 6 months, I was like craving those salads.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you're craving it because your body's been denuded of it for so long. Totally. You know, and that's why you keep eating all this ultra processed foods, because you're not satiated. You know, there's nothing in it. It's dead, full of chemicals and poison. Like,
totally.
You know, like your body's craving sustenance.
So let's talk about that, because, dude, exactly. Like you said, they hijacked our palate. Interesting.
100%. Yeah.
And also, like, what is that? Because we were talking about we are, like, the same thing that's going on in the garden is what's going on in our bodies.
100% mirror image. It's beautiful design by source.
So God, talk about that. Yeah, like, talk into that a little bit. Like, what's going on there? Like, right? Like, what's the relationship going on?
Well, like, you know, if you look at a seed and then you look at a gestational sac, so like right when the sperm hits the egg, you know, that big electromagnetic connection, the big bang happens for yourself and your soul. You know, you're just one nucleus and it starts to separate. But what starts to separate is your gut and your brain, and it's always interconnected. Always. Always. And then you can get down into it, you know, where the brain literally looks like a neural network of, you know, the mycorrhizal fungi underneath our feet, you know, connected to the trees. That's helping all the, basically, you know, the internet underneath our feet. Same thing there. Same thing that's going on in our gut. When you start doing microbial studies on the gut, seeing the bacteria and all the living microorganisms that are going on in there, the microbiome, you know, it's the same thing that you're seeing there. It's mirror image, you know, the way it's built up through silica. Everything is a complete mirror image. And it's a beautiful, beautiful design and story. And once you start really getting down into it in this rabbit hole, it's like, you just really start to like see it. You slow down and you start to understand it. And then you know, as you're eating, you're like, oh, that's right. Like, this is you start to know yourself, you start to become conscious and aware, and you start to see the red flags, in your body. Like my nose starts to stuff up. My nose starts to run. I had like allergies my whole life. It's like those allergies. It's just that I have gut dysbiosis. It's just that like my entire gut has been ripped apart like everybody else. And that is what's causing all this inflammation, and it's going right up to our brain and causing neuroinflammation. No wonder.
And that's that inflammation going on
and that was my red flag, but I never knew as a child. I'd sit there in class and everybody would yell at me because I'm sniffling. Well, it's like, well, yeah, of course I was, because I just ate a bunch of cereal sprayed with pesticides and sugar and dye. Of course, this is my marker, but I didn't know. No one was aware. No one was conscious of this stuff, especially in the 80s. And that's when we really introduced, glyphosate into the food system. And that's when you start seeing all these allergies. It's when you start seeing all these neurodegenerative diseases and the uptick in, from 1975, 1 in 5,000 children or 15,000 children, having autism, to today we're 1 in 36. You start seeing Alzheimer's rise, dementia rise, MS. You just start seeing all these things start rising, and it's really correlates to our agricultural system. And that's how I continue to just keep going down the rabbit hole, and it just, it really, like, we've always been messing up the agricultural system since before Moses, when we really forgot how to be a part of this beautiful design and tried to really just like control it and manipulate it, and if you look at every single prosperous empire that ever happened, like obviously expanding, what happened? Like they got too big, but not only did they get too big, but like their agricultural system failed. The way that they, just
distributed wheat.
They're just growing corn. They're just growing wheat. They're moving rivers over here. They're damming things up. Now they're hurting things and they're leaving them in one spot. Like it's not the actual design.
Right.
And
they
so
exhausted all the resources. There's nothing left.
Right. And they're
here in Florida.
And they're relying. Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Like over 100 years ago, this was beautiful soil. I was just listening to the main grower, Uncle Matt's Orchard, not too long ago on John Kim's, podcast. His dad was one of the first graduates of the University of Florida's like agricultural school. And, it just basically gave a timeline of like how the citrus industry just completely ruined everything from the same modern practices that every single industry, agricultural part in this country, because we're all, terroir different, but just started implementing, just ruining the soil. And as you start to ruin the soil, you start to ruin us, our health. Without the soil, we cannot have a soul. They're interconnected completely. And the more that, we are disconnected from the soil, the more we're disconnected from our souls. And that's why look at all the mental health, look at the amount of antidepressants we're on, look at all these things that we're doing, trying to connect, because we're so disconnected. And that's because we're just so disconnected from our soil. We're so disconnected from nature. And it's just, I'm really looking forward to what's, about to happen. And
what's that?
Well, I think, I know this might be a controversial statement and all, but I'm really looking forward to this new administration. Whatever anybody's opinions are, I'm an independent person. But like for me, I think, having Bobby on board was something that, really made me happy. And, the fact that he's going to fight.
On the administration.
He's going to fight for us, and literally the next day, Thomas Massey, congressman out of Kentucky, is asked to be the Secretary of Ag. He's probably going to be the Secretary of Ag. And then he calls up Joel Salatin from Pallet.
He's who I'm stoked about. He's a legend.
But then you have like Joel's working with all these other amazing regenerative farmers and scientists. Like now you have the people who have been trying to raise the warning signs saying this is what's going on. And then you have mainstream media that's been bought out by big pharma and bought out by these big food companies. And you can just tell, just watch the commercials after it. That's who's supplying it. And they're the ones who've been basically silencing and basically saying conspiracy theory and you're crazy and all this other stuff to Bobby and everybody else who's been talking about this stuff. It's finally coming to light. And that's what I'm excited about, because these people will help us not be so uneducated, or just the fact that, they'll stop poisoning us in a way that people will start to wake up. Because in my own journey and then other journeys, and we get into, me being a teacher, like my students you just start coming back online.
Dude, it's powerful. Yeah. What could happen? when
Yeah.
you actually empower the people with the facts
Yeah.
of the matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, it's cool. And what did Joel Salatin, what is he the head of now? I can't follow
So
any
he's
of it.
just going to be advisor to the Secretary of Ag. I
Got
mean,
it.
he's still got to do what he's doing, but
He's
I mean,
running his
him as an
operation.
advisor, if he's an advisor, then that means Gabe Brown's an advisor. It means Ray Archuleta is an advisor. It means John Kemp's an advisor. It means Dr. Christine Jones is an advisor. It means all these great minds in agriculture have been working for the last 20 years or more. And Dan Kitteridge from the Bionutrient Food Association are going to be talking together. I mean, they have been. They've been working together and going to be able to start really implementing on a more massive scale,
Right.
you know, what we really need to do. But that's the other
Because
thing.
right now it's like you're right. We were getting at it. It's slow moving. It's very
It's
like
slow moving.
but like with these big breakthroughs,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be, bro.
It doesn't. And like, you know, people just don't know. Like, you don't know there's a guy out there that is now, you know, took a small plot of land and was doing regenerative, you know, farming practices, saw what was happening, his microbial growth, and the fact that he's actually growing soil organic matter, and he's locking in carbon, and he's building nutrition back into the food. The water is actually being soaked back in. The liquid circuit, you know, crystal, you know, silica circuit board, the same thing that's like in this phone right here is the same design
Right.
inside the soil. You know what I'm saying? He sees it, and he's like, I'm going to do it to my land. Well, he just so happens to own the same acreage as the city of Los Angeles. You know, like these are huge changes that people don't even know about. It's already happening. And the fact that, you know, whether you like the gentleman who's going to be in charge or not, the fact that
Yeah.
Bobby's now been put in place to tackle, you know,
Right. That
The-
aside, it's
the
significant.
pharmaceutical companies and the you know, the pesticide companies, you know, the big ag companies, 'cause they're all hand in hand.
It's
dude.
important, dude. We need people exposed. Totally, dude. It's a significant. Whether you like the whatever red or blue, or it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
it doesn't matter, man.
Dude,
I'm
what's the truth?
I'm an American,
Yeah.
and I want America to be healthy. You know, make America healthy again. Why are we so sick? Why did COVID hit us so bad? How come like 75% of our young men are unfit, metabolically fit to be in our military? Like, I don't want to go to war, but like, we're unhealthy.
Yeah, man.
Like, we're sick. We're dying, man. We're
hear you,
collapsing.
Dude, I hear you. And I don't focus. I don't honestly. I don't look at a lot of those like talks and stuff because
Yeah.
dude, I've seen it and I know it, and I try to just
Yeah.
be in the solution, right?
Right? Yeah, totally, man.
And yeah, so you get it. But I mean, I feel you too because I work with people, man.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
my
bro.
team. I think about my team with this nursery. Anyways, these are just getting infections and being out and like,
Yeah.
you know, I see them not eating fast food and it's all good.
Even
to
me
each
at the
his own.
restaurant,
But
bro.
dude, they're affected. Like they're all affected. Yeah,
Right.
you're
Even
right.
me at the restaurant. Like,
Yeah.
dude, we're probably one of the healthiest restaurants I've ever really been a part of.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying?
I love
Like,
that.
we have organic vinegars. We have no seed oils now. We're bringing in organic and regenerative organic flours, you know, grass-fed, grass-finished beef. You know, it's really hard to procure great produce in this state because obviously there's a monopoly out there in California and other parts of the country that everybody's bringing in. I mean, so I see the same mixed green salad all across America. You know what I'm saying? Like coming out of Salinas, California. Like, that's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Especially like we're walking around your yard, dude. We're in Eden here. You know what I'm saying?
Can you
and we just got to
imagine?
change this paradigm and this mind shift, you know, to be able to get back to where we belong.
So what does that look like? Yeah, that's right. In the soil. So what? No, but yeah, like what does that look like? Because it's a paradigm shift, right?
I think it's an education problem, you know, and I really, you know, becoming a teacher, you know,
Awareness.
yeah, like
Yeah,
you just
you're-
don't know. Like no one knew. I didn't know. My parents didn't know. Like no one knew. And like even like, you know, the you know, the greatest generation ever coming out of World War II, they didn't know what they didn't know. They didn't know.
They had no idea.
They had no
bro.
idea.
The corporations took them freaking whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
They schooled them.
Well,
They
it's like-
fooled them.
but it's like, hey, look,
we gotta
right,
school them, bro.
Right, like, hey, look, like we're not dropping bombs anymore, and we don't have this like, you know, oil industry that we had going in the big war machine. So now what we're gonna do is just like extract NPK from it, and it makes vegetables grow fast, and grow big and green. Like, okay, this works. But
And
like,
by the way, you
we
can't.
didn't know.
They didn't know. You can't blame them either because.
No, you can't. You can't, man.
And yeah, we were getting at it earlier. Like all these civilizations who rose and fell.
Yeah,
Like they
because
didn't
they're really
forgive
trying to
them.
sustain themselves on like one crop, one type of monocrop. You know,
So,
and it's
dude,
it's not diverse.
Bro, and yeah, these lessons are key, man. Like,
Yeah.
how do we not continue? Like, Florida just fell victim to it the last, 50 years with
Yeah.
the citrus.
Yeah, totally.
Biggest
The greening.
provider of the world and
Right,
for
the
grape.
greening. Yeah.
The greening. it's like a biblical, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
oh,
Well,
but the problem is
Yeah.
monoculture.
Yeah, well, they were like breeding out the actual bacteria that they really needed to, I was listening to that podcast that they actually needed for the defenses,
It's exactly right.
and that's a mirror image again to us, so like
It's
go back
sterilization, right? It's
100% because
yeah.
like we're only 1% human, man. Like we're only 1% human. Whatever scientist, doctor, whatever you want to believe or listen to whatever white paper they have, is like 30 trillion, 50, 70 trillion cells. We are the amalgamation of all existence, of all matter. We're just frequency put into
Wait,
matter.
what's the other 99% then?
Oh, these living organisms
Yeah, a
everywhere, man.
community of-
Bacteria,
right.
viruses, fungi, like everything, man. It's we're just put together like that. And from the food system, we are literally just whapping ourselves over and over and over again. You don't just have to go to a doctor to take an antibiotic. I mean, think about antibiotic, anti-life.
Right.
75% of the water, dude.
And a lot of people, that's kind of controversial because it saves lives every day.
Totally. I'm not dude. Look.
But what
I've
you're
had
saying
doctors
is
save
that-
my life. You know what I'm saying? I've had doctors save my wife's life.
Exactly.
Like I'm not like knocking Western medicine whatsoever because like without antibiotics, we never would have won World War II with penicillin. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not knocking it whatsoever, but I'm just saying that like when you have 75%, and this is a couple years ago, this statistic comes from, but like 75% of the water and 75% of the air is just like full of this water soluble, pesticide called glyphosate, which they're, Monsanto.
Yeah, glyphosate. People are gonna be pissed.
Whatever, like going out.
Yeah.
But like when it's there, no matter how great you're growing, you're getting hit by rain, dude. You know what I'm saying? You're getting whacked when you walk outside with antibiotic. You're drinking it in the water. It's everywhere. It's a water soluble molecule. And when we sit there and we tillage all of our land, we're digging up all the carbon. All that water is going back into the atmosphere, right? It's just going on because the small water cycle is just going up and then rains on the next place. Up, it rains on the next place,
right.
dude. And like 1/10 of all the glyphosate that's actually sprayed in the country actually makes it into the plant. The rest gets into the soil, which then goes into the runoff because we don't have soil, we have dirt, and then it goes into the Mississippi tributary and then runs all the way down the Mississippi River and then, bottlenecks into Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Cancer Alley. Again, another personal thing. This stuff is very personal to me because it affects all of us as humans on this planet. But, just personally, but between, my own, figuring out my own dysfunctions neurocognitively to, my mom having early onset dementia and dying from that earlier than her mother did. My friends who are my age dying of like cancer, brain. I mean, like it's just insane the amount of like death that has happens because of our food system. And it's infuriating because people don't know that. It's like, hey, bro, welcome to the restaurant. I'm chef blah, blah, blah. Here's this beautiful plate of food. Oh, thank you so much. Like you're happy, you're warm, you think you get all this stuff. But it's like, if you knew I was actually handing you poison, would you want to eat that?
Right.
Would you want to drink that? No, you wouldn't. Oh, it's just a little bit. It's just going to it's not going to kill you today, but slowly over the years, it's just going to sit there and kill all the living organisms that make up who you are, and you'll slowly deteriorate. And then you'll just be a part of the sick care system. You know what I'm saying? I mean, our children, they're just like, we're just making these people very, very wealthy because our children are sick from all the generational toxicity and overload, bioaccumulation from all of it. And we're just making these people richer as we get sicker and we're more dependent on them, on their system. Like, how do you control people? You control their food. How do you control people? You make them weak. You make them not able to think.
But you're right. And dude, I just want to catch what you said. It's so true. The water system, the water cycle, it's all there. And it's a closed system.
Yeah, dude. There's a large cycle coming off the ocean and then there's a small coming from the land.
It's affects, I say it all the time. We all love the water.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
shoot.
Yeah.
Like respect, bro. So anyways, dude, the bioaccumulation, that's a big deal. But bro, what did you just say? You said, if you want to control the masses, you control the food.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's how they got this. That's how they really got those slaves over there from like jumping over the boats, man. That's when we're bringing them over. Like they brought their seeds.
Yeah, that's right.
So they could bring the food over.
They brought the Aki seeds. That's what we just made a video.
They brought it over, man, and that's when they started farming. And you get American cuisine out of that story. I mean, that's a beautiful story. It's a painful story, but it's a real story, and it is what it is. But that's what they had to do. They had to bring their food over. They had to bring the seeds over. Like, That's how
keep their
you
culture
control.
and all
That's
that.
how you control people.
And yeah, that's interesting. But who knows how it played out, you know? But
Right, yeah.
it is, but it's dark. But it's also that like they kept their culture, whatever happened.
Yeah.
But I think about, yeah, dude, like there's controlling them with food, which, you know, like they say all the revolutions happen once the people are starting to starve.
Yeah,
And how do
especially
you
with bread.
overthrow regimes, by the
Yeah.
way? Revolutions. That's
Yeah.
how the CIA and all them do it. So, I mean, bro, they use these tactics, but also food, but also education. Back to your other point.
Yeah.
Bro, that's what Rockefeller said. They said, yo, let's literally make a nation of workers,
Yeah,
not
bro.
a nation of thinkers.
Yeah, and as a former teacher, high school teacher, yeah,
Dude,
Yeah.
you see it.
yeah,
Dude, how do we get away from that? Because you mentioned, yeah, you brought gardening to your students, right?
yeah, man. Yeah,
Talk about
I brought
that.
farming to the students.
Like,
So,
how do we integrate it, brother?
well, like serendipity, man. You know, like. So like I was asked to consult on this private boarding school's new like snack shack. You know what I'm saying? Like they had, you know, shitty food. Okay.
Right,
Like
right.
same food and deep fryer, microwave, whatever, right?
Cisco.
And the yeah, dude,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
whatever. Like and you know, the headmaster came from, you know, New England and really loves good food. It really appreciates chefs. And my mother-in-law just so happened to be the dean of students of the school. So he knew of me, knew I was a chef, knew the restaurants I worked at, knew, you know, I was living in Vermont at the time when all this was kind of happening.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, I moved from New Orleans to Vermont because I wanted to get back to the land. I miss
Burlington?
Yeah, right outside Winooski.
Cool.
Yeah, it was just like literally across the river.
Super beautiful.
Yeah, oh, epic. Yeah,
Yeah.
I lived right on a salmon hole. It was beautiful city. Right. Yeah, dude. So through a conversation, I was like, you know, you could do this, you could do that. You know, these are the things you're going to need, because he didn't know what kind of equipment he needed and all this other stuff. And he's like, yeah, I just want a place for the students to be able to go and eat healthier food. How do I develop this kitchen? Yada, yada. And through a conversation over a cup of coffee, he was like, well, would you want to do this? I never really thought about being a teacher. And, you know, like you and I had a conversation before, my wife was dealing with Lyme disease and autoimmune disease. And, you know, she was on her way to go teach there. And I was like, well, this is a great thing, because I've been so busy working 70, 80 hours a week. I have not been any real help to my wife, really, you know, being there for her, which she really needed. And I'm just living inside of a restaurant, always grumpy, always overworked, exhausted. You know, that's,
Yes.
you know, I couldn't be the husband that she needed for like the first, you know, 7 years of our marriage. You know, I was just like a ghost, because it was the restaurant. And so I was like, yeah, why not? I'll do this. This will be cool. And that was it. Like, okay, cool. I'll make food for high school kids. It's like, yeah, but I want it to be really healthy. I'm like, cool. Well, there's farms around there. We'll figure this stuff out. And that's kind of how it left off. And they do just let me go.
So you ran with it.
He just let me go, man.
Wow.
And I just went. I had no
Did the
idea what I
students
was
like it?
doing.
Like what
Huh?
how did it turn out? What did it turn into?
Well, like, so it was basically based so like the students could have something to eat after dinner, right? Because they always complain about the cafeteria food, because cafeteria food's gonna suck. It's run by big ag. It's run by big foods. It's just gonna suck no matter what. Like, props to the chefs and the cooks in there. They work their asses off, but like no matter what, it like again, it starts in the soil.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But so I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna create the best thing I can for these guys with what I have. So I immediately, you know, like meeting you, I was like, well, I got to go meet the farmers in the community. So first weekend out, went to the farmers market, started talking to people. And then by meeting people, they're like, oh, you should go talk to this person. You should go talk to that person, you know? And I started meeting all these amazing, great farmers who really wanted to help me. And also being in New England, you know, there are food distributors who use really amazing organic and, you know, even regenerative farms. So I was able to procure all these great, you know, fruits and vegetables and flours and grains and beef and everything from all these people. And I just created not something that was like this artistic expression of like coming up with something crazy. It's just like, I'm going to give you a burger and I'm going to give you the healthiest burger you can, you know? And I still wasn't like that deep down where, in that rabbit hole.
But that was the goal.
That was the goal. Yeah, that was
best
the goal.
product possible.
That was it. Because like in Italy, when I went to school, it was like the teacher's like, look, like you just need 3 ingredients and they have to be the best quality ever. Like you guys in America are doing all this crazy stuff to the food to make it taste good. It's because your food sucks.
Hey guys, just wanted to take a moment to talk about our sponsor, Urban Abundance. We help people grow food at home. And if that's something you're interested in doing, or maybe you don't know where to get started, or it's really overwhelming, but you want to grow food, give us a call today. We help you design, install, and maintain your garden. We do fruit trees, we help you with maintenance, and we just really want to make sure you're getting the result you want and you're growing food. So if that's something you're interested in, click the link below and get on your garden design phone call today. Let's get back to the video.
It's funny, they said the less ingredients, the better, right?
Yeah. Oh man, I
It's
almost
so
got in a
funny.
fist fight with my teacher one time because he's like, "Oh,
What?
you guys
Really?
in New Orleans like have to put all these seasoning on your crawfish because it tastes like shit." I'm like,
Oh,
what?
you were offended.
I was offended.
Yeah,
I was
you were-
offended by it, and I didn't truly, my emotions got the control. And I wasn't
yeah.
really thinking rationally at the time.
You were a student.
But,
out
yeah,
there,
and I was still on this very beginning on this journey, and before I had even met my wife, and went on that health journey.
What
as
did he
well.
do? What did he rescind? Did he like bring it back?
No, we
Or-
just like agreed to disagree, whatever. We had much respect for each other, but
Okay.
but yeah, man, I just was like, that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna make the best quality pizza I can, So how do I do that? I find the best flour I can, and then I'm going to that and I find out, oh, you should be milling your own flour. Well, you have to use a sourdough, and I just started going down into all these rabbit holes of sourdough fermentation and like again the microbiome. It's just like with more life, you create more life.
Yeah.
You
You have to feed it. People don't understand when they talk
Yeah.
about feeding, you're feeding that.
Yeah, and it just kind of just took
interesting.
off, dude. My first year was just in the kitchen, and I was starting to tell all these students as I'm working with them in the afternoon. So instead of a sport, they had the opportunity to come work with me. So I took them on as employees, and I'm teaching all these things: how you make jam, how you make jelly, how you do all these things. They're prepping for me, and they come in and cook at night. And as I'm talking,
Oh, they liked it?
yeah, and as I'm
I'm
talking,
sure
yeah,
they
they loved it, dude. And they're like
yeah.
eating, they're happy. You know what I'm saying? They notice differences in their brain, their emotions, their physicality, even out on the field, and like their alertness in the morning, and all these other things. And they're just starting to like, I'm planting seeds. That's all. It's just planting seeds in their head. I wasn't forcing anything down them. Just planting seeds in them, just to like
Just feeding
make them.
and just
Yeah,
nourishing them.
exactly, bro.
Wow.
Exactly. And then, because my mother, very thankfully, my mother-in-law was the dean of studies. I was like, hey, I could turn this into a lecture class. She's like, go ahead. What are you gonna do? I'm like, I don't know yet, but I'm gonna do something. And so like, at first it was supposed to be like, hey, the headmaster was like, I want them to like actually kind of cook in that class. And so like the first day, it's like, okay, this is how you probably cut an onion. And I'm watching, and I'm like, they hate this. They're bored out of their mind. This sucks.
Oh, okay.
And then it's like, and then I start talking about the onion, and I see their ears perk up. Okay. And then the next day, this is how you julienne carrots, and they're bored. And then it's like, okay, let's eat these carrots. And I'll tell you about the farmer, Rene Giroux, right? One of my great friends out there in Connecticut. Props to you, Northwestern Connecticut Food Hub there. But
Shout out Rene Giroux.
yeah, dude, baller,
That's
amazing
dope-
woman,
that's a
amazing
dope
woman
name.
for the fight of food.
Carrots, you got
yeah,
it.
so they were like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm like, well, let me tell you why. And it was like, this is what's getting them. So the next day I was like, we're not doing it in the kitchen, we're doing this. And I sat them down and I pulled up Edible 101 based out of UC Berkeley with Michael Pollan and Alice Waters. And I was just like, we're going to like listen to this and we're going to talk about it. And then that's just how it grew. And then I just started taking everything I was studying in my downtime between prep and going and like being with my wife and all that. And I just started implementing in the class. And it just like all these wonderful things like, the book Cook that was put on a documentary is Netflix. I used that. And then, Kiss the Ground comes out. All these things are coming out. And
So
it's
you would
just
just
like,
immerse them.
oh
into
yeah,
it.
Fantastic Fungi. It's like, here, we're going to watch this and we're going to stop and we're going to talk about it. Or I'm going to stop it now and I'm going to tell you about it. Like, and this is how it, and then like correlate it to their lives. Like, this is why you're having problems focusing. This is why you're having problems with your anxiety. This is why you're having problems with your depression. Like, it's not your fault. It's like the most powerful thing you can tell somebody, especially a young adolescent, a teenager who's so wrapped up in their hormones, that it's not your fault. You there's nothing wrong with you.
Wow.
You're beautiful. You are like the rest of everything. We are made absolutely beautiful. The problem is that this design has been completely effed up from us because of our management systems and through our agriculture. And then as soon as you get that light bulb in, they want to know more. And that's how it went, man. It just kept going.
It's not your fault.
No, it's not. It's not.
Beautiful, bro.
It's not my fault. Like all these things, yes, you have to take ownership if you do something
Yes.
wrong, but
now their guards down and they're not.
and they start to understand. And you start seeing kids like, it's like, okay, I'm gonna stop taking.
There's clarity now.
Yeah, they're like, I'm gonna stop taking my ADD meds. I'm gonna stop doing this.
No
I'm gonna
way.
stop doing this. And like
So
I have
cool.
students who I'm still in contact with, you know, some that are farming, some that are in business school, some that are in politics, and they tell me how like, you know, just that planting of that seed, they've gone on their own journeys and have really changed their lives for the better. They're not dependent on this system anymore. They're sovereign. They're self-sovereign. They're becoming self-sovereign.
Wow.
You know, and that's what I'm saying. It's an education problem. We just don't know that we can be reliant on ourselves. We can be reliant on our community. We can do this ourselves. We don't need these massive corporations to control. We don't need 4 meat producers to control all the meat. We don't need Salinas, California to produce all the produce. We don't need it. We can do it ourselves.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah, we do it at your restaurant. Start somewhere, man.
Start somewhere, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Dude, so I love this story about you as a teacher.
Thanks,
It's
man.
like Coach Carter or something. It's dope. Yeah, it's amazing. Because
Yeah.
I feel it too. People come work for me
Yeah.
and they're like, take it on.
Yeah.
And they change
It's
their
the most
life.
rewarding thing in the world, man. Most rewarding
Totally.
thing in the world. And I'm still doing it inside the kitchen. I can't help myself.
Wow.
You know, that's why I was like, yeah, let's do this.
You're a
man.
leader. Maybe
Well,
there's
like-
something in you that likes to.
Well, it's like, dude, it just has to be known because like my whole life I struggled with school in neurodegenerative problems or neurodivergent whatever word you want to use. Like
Me
but
too,
it's-
by the way. Yeah. I
we all,
relate.
but we all do, man. And it's like it all just like,
Right.
you know what? Like I was just lied to as a child. I was manipulated as a child. My parents were manipulated. My grandparents were all manipulated through this system. And all we've done is made ourselves sicker. And my wife is a teacher as well. You know, and I start seeing these children like not able to hit the milestones they're supposed to. You know, and it's like, what is
And
going
they're-
on?
And they're almost pulled back. Like,
Yeah,
how-
I mean, that's like the beauty
Dude.
of, I guess, being a child of the 80s and the 90s is like one kid
yeah.
had a peanut allergy. And then the next thing is like this allergy, that allergy, that allergy. And then it's almost, I mean, like, I'm sorry to everybody out there, but like, it's a nightmare cooking these days. Everybody's allergic to everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're not allergic to everything. You've been poisoned. Poisoned. It's accumulated. It's like a backed up septic tank. That is what your liver is. That's what your pancreas, your spleen, all these organs that are meant to flush all these toxins out. We're not going outside. We're not sweating. We're just built up a cumulate of gross, disgusting poison. And our systems are just failing on a massive level, man. It's just, it's absolutely, you know, infuriating. And that's where, like, for me, it's like, that's why I wanted to talk, because I now feel free to be able to speak again, because I was speaking in class and I was speaking out. And then, you know, I was a golden boy because, like I said before, you know, I was starting to get involved with, you know, Rose 7 Seed Company. We were trying to, you know, my friend Renee and a couple other farmers, Stephen Castle over there at Chanticleer Acres, heads up to you, my friend. But like we were starting to take on these seeds and grow. We're going to get into the whole, you know, the whole studies and everything. And then COVID happened and everything kind of stopped. You know, went dormant. I had to go
tell
start.
us about that.
I had
You
to start.
said
Yeah,
it was
dude.
like a falling out or something. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Because dude, you were
yeah.
doing a positive thing. I'm just curious how it
Well,
played
like,
out.
it was like, here it is.
Because by the way, and I want to hear the story.
Yeah.
People at that time, things were a little bit upside down. I don't know if
Yeah.
you guys remember.
Yeah,
Like,
things were way upside down.
people were
dude.
like put in jail for
And,
opening businesses
you know,
and stuff.
And
It
then
was
maybe,
weird.
but maybe like I should say the preface to this is like, you know, I'm never gonna say something ever, especially publicly like this, unless I've lived it. Unless I lived it.
Facts.
You know, and you know when I met my wife, you know, she had told me she had Lyme disease. She told me she had autoimmune diseases, and I didn't know anything about any of this stuff. I'm just some crazy kid in New York City that's still just strung out on, you know, alcohol and whatever else I can get my hands on and adrenaline. And like, you know, we're eating at these really wonderful restaurants and having beautiful bottles of wine, and we're teaching each other because she comes from the farmland of Connecticut, and it's like she can't eat anymore. It's like, what's going on? And I know she's going through all this stuff medically, and it's like, well, what are they putting in you? And I don't know any of these things, and I'm trying to like figure out. I'm like, well, I'm a chef, she has to be able to eat, I have to be able to feed her. Like, this is just not okay. And it was just based out of love. And it's like, okay, well, like, I know yogurt has, you know, living organisms, and that's seems to be pretty, you know, by now use the term nutrient dense, but pasteurized, whatever, we can go into this discussion later. But like that was the only thing she'd eat. And it's just kind of started going down that rabbit hole. And so, like, you know, I have flown all over the country to many different types of holistic doctors. I mean, I've been to Western med, Eastern med, functional med, integrative, holistic, all these different things. I've paid hundreds of thousands of dollars out of my own pocket to figure all this stuff out. And the further I continue to talk to all these doctors and listen to all these people and start to understand biology itself, you know, it just kept going back to the soil. Just kept going back to the soil. And that's when I started being a teacher and researching all this stuff. And it was like, oh my God, there it is. And then I heard this man named Zach Bush, Dr. Zach Bush talk, and he put it all out there. And I was like, it was like the light bulb really went off in my head. I was driving food for the farms in Connecticut, delivering it during the summertime when I was not working, just going out, meeting all the farmers I could. That's how I could get to do that. I was like, okay, dude, I'll take that job. I'll do that for you, Renee. No problem, dude. She needed help. Like, she's trying to build this beautiful food hub of Connecticut, wonderful farmers, and trying to get it out to schools and hospitals and like people who need food, you know, because people are so food insecure. I mean, people eat at gas stations and shit. You know what I mean? God damn. And it's like, so I'm talking to all these people and I'm listening to these podcasts. I'm driving, I'm listening to John Kempf, and I hear Zach Bush and John Kempf, I think brilliant agricultural mind. And it's just like, boom, there it was. And that's when I learned about Cancer Alley. And that's when I learned about glyphosate. And I just started putting all this stuff together, man. And it took off like that, you know? And
the pieces are all there. Yeah, the dots are connect quick when you start.
Yeah, and now I feel empowered to be able to speak about it again because I was in the classroom. And then it got silenced because of COVID.
Yeah, dude. So talk about that. But I love what you're saying. It was because of love with your girlfriend.
Yeah.
And by the way, I had a girlfriend who had colitis, ulcerative colitis at one point. And I remember it affected her. I didn't want to see her suffer. Like, we did change. We were doing like,
you do whatever you can.
Yeah, you were saying like, what is the solution? What couldn't you do?
Well, you go so far down one path, and it's like, if this isn't working, I have to start trying the woo-woo out.
Yeah.
He's like, when your back's up against a wall, you're gonna do whatever you can to survive. That's what I'm saying. But like, it's like a cancer cell. It's like a cancer cell. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're trying to whap it with all this radiation, and it starts to spread itself because it's trying to survive. You know, you're gonna do whatever you can.
You gotta be the
some things work, some things don't work.
Yeah.
You know, like, you just have to go through it all. But that's, you know, going back to COVID, it's like, I'm just talking about food. I'm just talking about poisoning of the food system. That's all I'm doing. And then
COVID happens. Okay.
And everything shuts down. And then, you know, we're all going back to.
You were boarding school though.
Yeah.
What happened? They all went home? Or they stayed?
Yeah, no. So crazy thing is, I actually had a trip going to Japan. I would plan a 2-week trip to go to another place to go teach them about food and culture. That was like my thing that I would do. Everybody picked like something they would do. The first year I did Italy because I knew it, right? I brought them to everywhere I knew, and even a place I didn't know. And like, let's go ahead and tell this beautiful story of how cuisine makes culture. Is cuisine culture? Is culture cuisine? Right? You know, that big essential question. And so just like,
dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome, dude. Yeah. And so I was like, all right, next trip's Japan, because I always wanted to go to Japan. Well, how am I going to do that? Well, okay, let's do this. I had this beautiful plan and beautiful trip planned out, and then a week before, it's like, you can't go. Okay, well, screw it. You need a backup plan. All right, let's go to New Orleans. So I took them to New Orleans, and I did the thing there. But as we were on the trip, you're watching the news, you're seeing it happen. It's like all students are being rerouted to their parents, and you're all going back to school, and it's lockdown.
That was the last weekend. I remember that.
It was the day everything
locked down. That weekend was
down.
like the last weekend you could do anything, and then it was done.
Yeah, dude, we were on a rooftop of the Ace Hotel in New Orleans, and then we're flying out the next day, and that was it. Yeah. That was it.
And I mean, yeah, but That's interesting. So you at least got to bring them to New Orleans that
Yeah,
week.
that
And
was
everyone was a
cool.
little weird.
Yeah.
I remember because I had a master class that weekend, like at the farm.
Right.
And I haven't done them since then. Like
Right.
really, like,
Well,
you know,
yeah.
and
Turn everything upside down, man.
yeah. And we've been busy since then, honestly. More people want to grow food.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean,
like a
dude,
total
more
shift.
people want to. Yeah, and I mean, like, talk about controlling food. You weren't allowed. You were allowed to buy all kinds of stuff at Home Depot. You weren't allowed to buy seeds.
Dude, let's talk about that. Bro, I honestly, it is so whack. I don't know
Right.
if YouTube censor or whatever, but it's like, dude, I like just real talk. It's so, the big box stores stayed open, bro. None of it
Yeah.
made sense.
No,
It's a
everybody
big
got richer.
rollout, bro.
Everybody
Yeah.
got richer.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know?
some people got richer.
Yeah. Well,
Not everybody.
yeah. All right.
but-
Yeah. No, you're right. No, dude, you're totally right.
But
And
dude,
like,
I love how you mentioned that you couldn't do a lot of things that you.
no, and I mean,
maybe-
dude, I was on a Zoom and I was teaching class, and these kids are just sitting there like this, or playing a computer game or something like that while I'm teaching class, and it's just like
it wasn't the same.
no. And then even like going to school the next year, I kind of raised some red flags, and they're like, you have to do this, you have to do that. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I don't wanna do that.
What
Like,
was
put
the
a mask
disagreement?
on. I don't want to wear a mask. I have asthma. I don't want to sit there and put this like
right.
polyurethane like cloth with all these microfibers and who knows where it's been made. Like, I mean, like, because I've been going down the rabbit hole.
Was it
with
the
health.
V word too? We don't have to say it, but
Well, yeah.
was it that too?
Yeah, of course, dude. Like, I don't know what that is. Like, I don't know what that is at all. I don't know what that is, like, not tested. I have no idea what you're putting in my body, and I've been studying that stuff with animals for a long time and what it does to it. Like, this is new technology. We don't know what the hell is going to happen. I don't want to do that. You want to do it? Go ahead. Like, I'm for freedom, man. You want to do whatever you want to do? Go ahead.
That's right.
You have at it, bro. That's you. Just don't make me do it. That's it. I'm cool with that. But, they had a different They had a different thing there.
So what happened?
So
You
that
don't
was
have
the
to
red
t-
flag to them
and
about me, I guess.
It wasn't happening.
It wasn't happening. Yeah.
A lot
it
of
wasn't
people.
happening.
They're
But-
gonna die on that hill. A lot of people.
yeah, man, and people paying millions of dollars, in reparations for that. But whatever, man. But it's just like that kind of was like, okay, Matt. Like, I guess I'm pissed him off because I was the only one not falling in line with that.
Interesting.
I was the only one that was like,
you said, right?
huh?
Was it in Connecticut?
Yeah, it was in Connecticut, and I was just like, I wasn't falling in line with it, man. I was just like, I'm not having it, but I had to because I had a wife to support and I had a child. I had to, and I was committed to what I was doing. I believed in what I was doing because I saw in my students, the schools for students who are neurodivergent, who have ADD, ADHD, executive functioning, dyslexia, dysgraphia, and I saw them coming back online. I saw them starting to take their power, or saw them having confidence, and I like believed in the fact that like through food you can change people's lives, and I believed in like rebuilding the food system, and I was a part of it, and it was going. It was going. I mean, we were moving, and then so I was like, I'll do whatever I have to do to keep this dream alive, and just over the course of the next year or so, my students are questioning everything because I taught them how to question everything. And I wasn't telling them, question the V.
Right.
I wasn't saying, don't
This is
do
your stance.
that.
This is your
I was
religion.
not going to do that whatsoever.
Yeah.
Not at all. The same thing like in class. Like, I'm not going to sit there and talk about I'll talk about politics and how it affects our food and all these other things, but I'm not going to sit there and like force feed my ethos and morals down your throat. You're free to choose how you want to choose. This is just my opinion, but you're free to choose how you want to choose. And it just like was this.
They didn't like that. You were like independent mind.
Yeah, it just
school.
it just wasn't vibing, man. It just wasn't vibing.
But
so
we get to connect and meet.
yeah,
you're
no.
in Florida, man.
Well, no, everything's meant for a reason. You know what I'm saying? I was meant to be there, and now I'm meant to be here. And if I stay here, I move. Who knows what life brings you? But yeah, it just went south, man, and I had to get out.
Yeah.
I had to get out. I had to get
keep
out,
it like,
man.
okay, damn. So,
But I mean, I did.
welcome to Florida, bro.
Yeah, no, dude. I dropped everything, and I had really no job lined up. I just was like, I'm gonna move to Florida. Like, I know I might have a chance there, and I'm just gonna like go back to being a chef, man.
Does your
like,
family like it?
Like,
Does
what?
your family like Florida?
Well, yeah. I mean, like, we love Florida. I mean,
And
my
do you like your
mother-in-law-
job, by the way? You're a chef. You're a chef.
Yeah,
now, for
yeah.
real big time.
yeah. But like, I just No, I love Florida. You know, I homeschool my child as well. So, you know, there's a lot of great things going on with homeschooling here. There's a lot of activities to do, you know, a lot of nature and science classes, you know, Delray Children's Garden. There's just so many beautiful things that are happening here. And it's just, you know, it's amazing what's going on. And even when we came here, you know, my wife was teaching at a school. Again, I'm not going to name names, but like, you know, it's just like, it doesn't matter what style of school you are. It's just, it's not right. It's just not, we're not designed to work that way. We're not
like how it's
designed
structured.
to learn that way.
Yes.
Man. It's just not. It's just
Yeah,
not,
I feel
man.
that.
You
It's
know?
dude, so you homeschool your kids.
Yeah. Well, my
It
wife
seems
does.
like-
I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah.
at the restaurant. My wife does all the work, dude.
Respect,
You know?
man.
Yeah. I mean,
Cool.
I owe everything to her. Everything.
Amazing.
Yeah, everything.
Shout out. What's her name?
Rachel.
Rachel.
Yeah.
Amazing.
She's my ride or die.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's amazing, dude. Homeschooling there's a big wave of that. Almost
Yeah.
everyone on the podcast homeschools their kids.
Yeah, man, because like, you know, my daughter was such a part of like a small knit community at the boarding school. You know, she would come and cook with the kids, and she'd come to the farm with me, and like we had this community, and like we ripped her out of it, and it just like crushed her. It crushed me. Like, dude, I mean, I never had such a like an emotional reaction to anything in my life. Like I thought I lost everything, but I knew I had to do it, and it's just like, it was crushing.
You're
for the whole
attached to
family.
that program and all that going on.
Dude, yeah, because like I feel like it's my purpose to sit there and help. I don't know, help us all understand.
Was
it
your
all.
yeah, bro. I can relate
Like,
to what you're going
look, I love what I do,
through. Yeah.
and I'm a chef and all that stuff. But like, I don't want to be in a restaurant 70 to 80 hours a week. You know what I'm saying? I love connecting with people and connecting other people with other people, and just helping us all figure out this big picture together, and just for all of us to be as healthy and happy and peaceful as we can be, as we should be, you know, for everybody, not just the rich people, but every single person, you know, to democratize food, to have everything we should have as a you know, as a sapien. You know, we're part of this planet. You know, we are that original AI, you know, coming out of the soil through billions of years of evolution, or trillions of years of evolution, how many, whatever, you know, whatever you want to say. Like, we are that, and we're this management system to help her grow and grow fast and more beautiful and more intelligent and more prosperous, to just create this Eden. I mean, that's our jobs here. We've lost that original, you know, quoting Bush, like that original intelligence of nature. You know, when we were that walking ape, you know, and started through synesthesia, like communicating through these sounds that we all agree upon called language, we started to lose that original intelligence and that communication with our plants and our animals and the soil and Mother Earth. You know, I mean, our indigenous people know it, you know.
That's what Zach Bush says. It was through communication is what kind of distracted us. Is that what he says?
Well, no, like we've lost that original communication, like because we're lingual people, but we lost the communication with Mother Nature herself.
Sure.
And then when you dump all these and then go back into the pesticides, you're ruining the wireless communication system with inside of you and the neural communication inside of you, because this stuff like glyphosate is just whapping it. It's taking that gut barrier and just ripping it open. Like kale is just going through you, these cruciferous vegetables, these things that are supposed to be nutrient dense and which are not, you know, anymore, are just going through and creating inflammation, and then just going ravaging our bodies. And these alkaloids, all these things that weren't meant to be going and flying around, were supposed to be actually digested by the bacteria and the enzymes and all these things that we don't have anymore, just actually, you know, are now killing us. And there's no nutrition in the soil. There's no nutrition in it. And that's why your carrot you buy at the grocery store tastes like shit. Because why? Because there's no nutrition. Of course you want the Dorito. Man. Because they designed it. They hit that bliss point. It's an actual thing. They call it a bliss point. And they designed it that way. That's why when you go through a bag of Doritos or whatever it is, you're like, oh, this one's okay. This one's all right. And it's like, oh, fuck, that one's awesome. And the only way you understand that is if you go out to blueberry bush or a blackberry bush or an apple orchard or whatever it is in season, and you're eating from the same bush. You're like, yeah, this one's all right. That one's a little sour. Oh my God, that one's awesome. They design the food the same way. They're just playing with us, man. They're just using us.
Yeah, it's scientists that work for all these companies, and they literally, fire off the chemicals, and
Yeah.
They figure out what chemicals do that and then put it in the food.
Dude, think about
Crazy,
Starbucks,
bro.
man. Go right back to it. You're hitting us with caffeine, right? Neuromodulator. Bing, ding, 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 hitting that bliss point. But then you're also giving us sugar and you're giving us fat. And it's just like, I mean, why do you think we love ice cream so much? It reminds us of mother's milk. And then boom, you hit us with caffeine. Of course, Starbucks is prevalent. No wonder it's everywhere. And no wonder all these things hit us because we've been manipulated. We've been lied to. And these big food companies, you know, they are paying for the big ag education. These farmers don't know it.
That's what we got. We got limited time, and we could go for all night, dude. I love where you're getting at.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't even know. Like, you said it earlier, and you just said it again now. We've been manipulated.
Yeah.
No one said that on this podcast. We got to come to terms with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, you said these big research, all these research papers and stuff are funded by like Kellogg's and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like crazy, man. But I want to focus on the solutions, you know, and like I have one of my dude, and I love. This has been awesome, man. Thank you for coming out, dude.
Well,
because I feel your passion. I can relate to. It hits deep for me as well, you know.
yeah, man.
And we meet people, man. It's like let's get the word out.
Yeah.
Brother, but dude, yeah, I was just gonna mention one of my dear friends. She's just got pregnant. She's, you know, I won't say who it is, but she is going through that learning, all those things. You did it as a parent.
Yeah.
And she's opening up to me about it. And then she said, as she was doing her research, that like on a podcast, like Zach Bush podcast or something, that one of them, she said that Kellogg's funded this like Harvard school of like ag or whatever the heck.
Yeah.
And then they funded all these studies, and then basically she showed up to the hospital. She heard that on the podcast, and the next day she showed up at the hospital, and like in all the like the nutrition stuff, she said it was like it was like the wrong things to eat. Oh, and she was, you know, she eats good. She's eating you know, I mean, like kimchi and tea and like salad and like, and she was like, this is all wrong. And at the bottom of the page, it said the Harvard school that it came out of.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm out of here. And she went and got like a, you know what I mean, natural.
Yeah, you go to, you know, unfortunately had to spend a long time in many hospitals, you know, on this journey. And like the food that is in there is just, it's not food, it's poison. We're feeding our students poison. We're feeding our sick patients more poison. We're
and poison of the mind, dude.
100%,
education
man.
And food, bro. You're right.
It's all cut off. Like, how are we supposed to be able to actually think for ourselves if our system isn't running properly? It's impossible, and it's on a microbial level. You know, we're just devoided of all bacteria and enzymes. Like, I literally just started taking a whole new round of these digestive enzymes, and I'm getting just a big boost. And like, I've been in the soil, I've been eating regenerative, I've been eating grass-fed, grass-finished beef, and I'm doing well. But now it's like, okay, I got these enzymes in, and it's like, boom, another step up, another level up.
Love it. What are those? Can you share it with me and the audience?
It's just digestive enzymes from silverfernbrand.com. Cool. Yeah, they're a great company, man. Yeah, they're a great company. Okay. Yeah, oh yeah. Like, let me tell you, I've tried a lot of things. It's amazing. Yeah, absolutely amazing. And there's people who are doing it. Where's the solution? The solution's with us having conversation like this. And the other people that are out there, like, people need to understand, like, okay, cool, we've been manipulated. All right, sweet. But the most powerful thing you can do besides, you know, okay, we vote, and most people think that your vote is not important. But you got to think about this, that what actually makes the world work? It's this thing, bro. It's this thing.
Moolah.
It's money.
Yeah.
It's money. You tell them what you want, and they're going to do it. If you stop buying that product, they're going to change their practices. You think about how many years you have left on this
solution
on this
of the year, baby.
Yeah.
Dude, seriously.
But think about it. How many more years you got left?
Bro, if the money goes somewhere else,
right,
you know who's going to follow it. Who, like,
dude, right? Like, most people eat 3 times a day, right? They make a decision with their money 3 times a day where they're going to eat. That's 3 votes a day. How many years you got left on this planet? Multiply that. Then think about all the other people who know that and multiply that. That's billions of votes every single day. And what kind of world we want to live in. When people understand that when you put your money where you want it to be and you stop putting it what's actually killing us, those systems will go away. I don't okay, I'm talking about Bobby's coming into play and Thomas Massey and Joel Salatin and stuff. That's great. But unless we do it, it's not going to happen.
It's called free market for a reason. Yeah.
Right,
yeah,
man.
Yeah.
But we change the system.
Yeah.
We do it. Like that's just what it happens to be. And then like
Go to the farmer's market.
go talk to
yeah.
your farmer, man. And like, and that's the thing is like, okay, I might get some shit for this, but like chefs, like we have a responsibility, man. We have a responsibility to people, you know? I mean, I remember a customer one time having a heart attack. I was running this fine dining steakhouse
No
and this
way.
guy had a heart attack and you know, he's a customer all the time and he had a heart attack. And it's like, what am I doing? Like I knew like the education I got in New York and Italy, it was only so much, but like I would look at myself in the mirror and like, what am I doing? Like I sold out for money and I'm doing this and it's
For
great.
being
and
a
all.
chef in New York City and
Right, to
status
go
and
into New
whatever.
Orleans, and I moved home to New Orleans to take on this, you know,
Okay.
this restaurant, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's like a big to-do down there. And it's like, okay, I'm feeding the ego, right? That's all I was doing. And I just remember staring at myself in the mirror in the bathroom, like 90-hour work weeks, you know, just like white, pale. I'm a horrible husband. You know, I'm not helpful whatsoever. I'm a complete ghost. Like I don't talk to my friends. I don't talk to my family. I'm missing weddings, funerals, all these other things. And what am I doing? I'm poisoning people. It was like a huge, another one of those big gut checks in my life. It's just like, why am I doing this? And,
Wow,
and
dude,
that's
respect, because a lot of people work in industries for a long, long time, and it's okay because you, like you said earlier, you have a wife, you have a family. It's okay, but it is good to come to terms with like, hey, what am I out here doing?
right. Like I'm just a
Interesting, bro.
part of the problem. I need to be a part of the solution. That's why I moved to Vermont to try to figure out if I could be. And then I landed in that teaching job, and it's like, okay, I'm finally on this, meeting this mission, you know. And now I'm again like I feel like I can
Cool,
start
man.
speaking out again. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, like, and it's not chef's fault. You know, it's not cook's fault. It's not doctor's fault. It's not, because like we were talking about before, like, you know, not just our agricultural schools are funded by big ag, you know, our medical schools are funded by big pharma. So of course they believe these people are highly intelligent. They can memorize anything. I mean, they can say whatever, like they could literally talk me in circles. I get it. But like when you're learning one thing and you're in that modern day education system and you're taught to be a good student and memorize this and that's what it is, ABC 1 2 3, that's what it is in a story, you're not able to think anymore and critically think and see what's going on. And there are doctors out there who are speaking we all call quacks, like Dr. Mark Hyman and Zach Bush and Casey Means, and you know, shout out to the Means family. Dr. Casey and her brother Callie are doing great things right now. But like we need to educate ourselves for this to stop, and we need to be a part of that solution. And it's hard because it costs a lot of money. Like, you know, so I'm a part of a restaurant that's taking these hits, bringing in organic vinegar, bringing in these more expensive, and we're trying not to like make this really fancy meal, and we're not trying to charge everybody hundreds of dollars for money. That's
Right.
not it whatsoever. We're just trying to feed people the best food we possibly can.
Right.
But when other chefs and other people don't understand that or know that, and the system is pretty much rigged to where how in the heck in this economy can any, you know, like being out of the restaurant industry for 6 years and coming back into it, how things have changed economically is insane. Like, of course we're going to have to go to the lowest common denominator. Of course we're going to have to, like, it might be a fancy meal, white tablecloth and this and that and who, but it's like, where'd that come from?
Yeah, man.
Where'd that come from? You
I
know?
love it, bro.
And it's like, just,
I love
again,
it, bro.
like,
Where'd that come
like
from,
where,
bro?
like, here you go, but it's like, is this poison or is this like water in a beautiful matrix that's going to sit there and hydrate your cells full of minerals? This is the nude too.
Right,
There's
man.
nothing in it, man.
Yeah,
It's
man.
gone.
Dude, it's good stuff, brother. I love all of the stories, man, but like,
Yeah.
so good. Going to Italy and learning less ingredients. Learning
Yeah.
like the ancient. I like that
Right.
you did that. It's like a hero's journey type thing.
Yeah, I just wanted to get connected to my roots so badly, and then like, you know, coming back to America, it's like, but I'm an American, you know, and like we have a responsibility to the land, and we have a responsibility to our people to heal ourselves, and like that again is culture cuisine. You know, if you go through Italy, every single different place has a different twist, and they got even a war, you know, over the twist of a tortellini at one point in time, it like, you know, like a couple hundred years ago.
No way.
But they have, every different region has a different terroir, and they have a different type of little bit of cuisine, micro cuisine, and a different culture. You know, it's all Italy, but it's all a little different.
Yeah,
and like
there's a little-
we're,
Yeah.
you know, this massive nation of states, and we're not like, we're just one big monocrop culture. You
And
know,
it's the same looking shopping plaza everywhere.
it's crazy.
No,
man.
no terroir. Maybe you
No.
go to Northern Cali or something,
Right.
or New Orleans. But like, I like that. Let's bring the terroir back.
Definitely, man. I
brother.
mean, like, look, Lincoln made land grant universities for a reason. So each state was responsible for itself to feed its people. And then what happened years down the road? You got big foods going into schools, giving them money, and pushing what they wanted. And that's how you get Lay's potato chips. That's how you get the French fries from McDonald's. That's how you get all this stuff happening. And our land grant universities turned into, I mean, they're changing their ways for sure. And there's some amazing ones out there, and everybody's moving forward. I'm not saying it is what
Progress.
it used to be. Progress is happening, but
I
for
feel
me, it's education, man.
that's the ticket, brother.
We got to.
Brother, thank you
know.
for coming on,
Hey,
man.
you're welcome. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do
anytime.
this again. Yeah.
Anytime I
Yeah.
can talk about all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
Go
this is great.
deep down the rabbit holes, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks.
Take care, y'all. See you next time.
Hey guys, another awesome video. Thank you for watching and all your support. Hey, do me a favor, click the like and subscribe button down below if you haven't already. It goes a long way. We'll see you in the next one.